Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now in today's video we've got these two gorgeous cards. This is a new collection called Bibi's Little Blessings, and it's from Bibi Cameron, and I've got the Blessing Angels, and there are 23 cutting dies with this. You've got 4 different examples of different looking angels that you can work with. The arms and the hair and the outfit and the clothing and everything is different. And you've got all of the die pieces for this. And these just create some sweet little angels. And it's just a darling set. So this is the Blessing Angels. And then we have got the Nativity Blessings. And this has got Mary and Joseph and the baby and the manger. And you've got the star. And you've also got some doves. And then we have the matching everyday blessings and banner sentiments. And there are a lot of them. You've got lean into the light, you shine brighter than you know. Sometimes God sends us angels disguised as friends. Shine on, little light. Glory to God, grace to you, sending blessings. Blessings bloom where love is born. Wishing you peace, love, and heaven's light. Sending a little light your way. May angels fill your heart with joy, sending you warm hugs and blessings on your special day. Joy to the world, love to your home. On your first Holy Communion, blessings bloom, and more. And then we have got this fantastic Divine Arch Creator die set. And this thing is huge. This actually will fit a 5x7 card. It is so large. You can scale it down by using the smaller arches for an A2 size card, but I'm going to make 5x7 cards today because this set is fantastic and I think we just need to show it off. So I've just taken a regular size piece of cardstock and scored it at 5.5 and just made it extra big. And then you'll lay the edge on there and die cut it out so that you don't cut the one edge. And then you've got a card base, and then you can bring in this particular die here that will cover up the edge where the corner, the bottom of your card didn't die cut out because of having to leave the die off the edge, and then that'll finish it off, and then you'll lay a panel on there that'll finish off. It'll make a great shaped card. So I have got my panel ready there, and I have taken some brushed gold cardstock that is just gorgeous. My friend Daria gave this to me, and I've been using a lot of it on my channel recently. We're going to use some beautiful cardstock on these particular cards because I'm going to bring in some of the suede cardstock that she also gave me, and these are just some stunning cards that we're making today. So I'm kind of cleaning up a little bit of the glue off of there so don't mess it up. And I'm just going to get it lined up down here on the card base, and we're going to have this nice little frame. And I've got cardstock behind it mostly, just that one left side corner where I just had to let it hang off the smidge to get, a shaped card. And I'm just cleaning up the glue on there. And then here is that gold brushed cardstock that I'm using for my background, and it is just gorgeous. It's not too bright, not too shiny, but very elegant, and I think it's perfect and pairs nicely with the navy blue suede cardstock that I'm going to bring in. And so I'm just going to layer this up. You've got lots of layers with this and lots of detail. I'll tell you, this is from Spellbinders and it's Bibi Cameron, but the detail and ornateness of it kind of reminds me of Anna Griffith because it just has so much detail and so much ornateness to it. I really like it. I think it's a beautiful set. And I can't believe it's taken me this long to work with it. Now here is that navy blue felt that I have die cut it out with, and I'm bringing in my little lint brush and just rolling off any die cut hairs that got on there from running it through my die cutting machine. And I'm just going to layer this on that brushed gold cardstock, and it just looks really pretty together. I think the gold really makes this blue pop off of there, and we're just going to get to adding all of our layers. And I'm starting off with the card base just because this frame set here is just so fantastic. And then we'll get to working with the dies and assembling all the dies. We're going to do a lot on this video. It's a little bit of a longer video, but my users are telling me they do enjoy the longer videos, so I'm able to bring you a little bit more content today. So I've got the brushed gold frame there, and then I've got some alabaster heavy cardstock, and then I've brought the decorative element to the arch out, and we're going to lay it down on this alabaster, and then we will create kind of our focal point on our card base. Now, I will tell you that I used the remnants of these pieces, and we'll use them on the next card. The piece that this pops out of is usable, and then it also die cut a white an alabaster frame out, like the gold one I have laying there, and we're going to use those on our next card. So we are making the most of this cardstock and just using both elements. So you'll get to see how you can use the inside of it and then the outside. Trying to get it lined up on there straight. I'm not exactly happy with it, so I'm going to rearrange it and give it a press and then clean up any glue mess that I made from moving it. I just wanted it to be laid in their center. Now I'm using the line on my glass mat. I've got the point at the top of the card base and the point at the bottom of it lined up on that center line. And then I'm going to try my best to get the point of this panel lined up as well. Just trying to get it squared up on there, and then using it to try and line it up and get it centered to where I have a decent frame all the way around it. Just giving it a good press. Now it is going to take a minute for this brushed gold cardstock to adhere to that suede, and so I gave it a little press with my little acrylic block, and then ran my lint roller against it again, just checking to make sure it's straight. And then we're going to get some glue laid down on here and lay this in the center, and we have got the beginnings of a beautiful card. And it's a 5x7. I had a viewer last night tell me that they really enjoy the 5x7 cards, and that their family had a preference toward the 5x7 cards as well. And so just going to bring another one to the channel. Anyway, so now we've got these beautiful leafy elements, flourishes, whatever you want to call them. And I've die cut them out in that alabaster cardstock, and we're just going to glue them up and get them laid down on her. And this just adds a lot of decorative element to it. Now there are, I mean, you could just go on and on with this set. There are floral elements and centers and inside stuff like that. And I did die cut some of those out. Didn't wind up using all of them. But I think the cards came out beautiful with what I did choose to use. But there are lots of extra bits and pieces that you can certainly add to it. So I'm just positioning these to where they kind of come together at that point. One of them kind of goes a little bit further above the point than the other one. And it'll kind of fill in that top part up there and then just kind of bring them together. And so this is how they're going to lay on there. And so I'll get this one glued down, and we will have our little flourish elements on it. And then we're going to add to this these sweetest little angels and just kind of continue in this color scheme. In fact, we're going to coordinate both of our cards with this color scheme. I just decided I had this out, I had enough of it, and I was just going to make 2 of them with it. And I just think they're both stunning. So we'll get this lined up on there. So it's Monday as I'm filming this, and the kids are back to school after this whole rainy season we've had here. And they were eager to get back. They both had great mornings and were super easy to get ready, which was fun. And then both, got into school and were ready to go. So they had a really good morning, so I was glad about that. I wasn't sure because it's the official second week of school, and I wasn't sure if they'd be still raring to go or if they'd already lost their interest in it. But I'm getting all of my little pieces out for one of my angels. And this is going to be my taller or a little older angel. Shirt dress is going to be a little bit longer than the other one because we're going to add 3 layers to it. So I'm taking the bottom layer of the dress, and then I'm adding this decorative layer, and then we'll add the top layer of the dress. And so we've got 3 layers on this. For my next one, we'll just add 2 layers. And this is super cute. I'm using that blue suede for this particular dress, and then we'll use some of the gold brushed cardstock for the little shirt that she's wearing underneath this dress, and just get it assembled. I'm going to get it lined up nice and neat so it's even, and then give it a good press. And now I've got, here's the shirt, and we're going to get it laid down on there. I'm going to have to kind of tuck the dress up inside the sleeves so that the sleeves are on top of the dress. And we'll just position it like this, and then give it a press. Super fun. And I think you could use some of these dresses on some of your other elements. We've got that couture gal that you could probably use these dresses on, and also that you might be able to use it on that aloha gal as well if you really want to mix and match. I'm just throwing that out there. I know we're doing Christmas cards right now, but I was just thinking about those dyes as I was looking at this clothing. So for their face, I did use the Bellini cardstock. Correction, it was the chiffon. And I am bringing in saltwater taffy and one of my fine detail blending brushes and just adding a little bit of color to the cheeks of all of these. And it just gives them a little bit of shading, and I think it adds some sweetness to their little faces, and that's what I'm doing here. So this is chiffon, and I've got some water taffy on there, and I think it just added a cute little element. And so I'm going to add some just kind of around her neck there. I think that's the only one I added to the neck on, but we'll position the head on there. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of different hair pieces for this hair, and I opted for this one that has the little wispy curls that hang around the face, and then I'm going to add the braids to it. And then like I said, there's, I don't know, 2 or 3 other different hairstyles. We're going to use a different hairstyle on our other little angel, but for this one, she's going to have the long hair, and I think it's really cute. So I'm going to bring in her other braid, and we'll put a little bit of glue and then just get it attached to the other side. I was trying to line up the hair, the little wispy curls on the face so that it laid nicely on there. And then we'll get this layered up. So once I got back home from taking the kids to school, was doing a little bit of work preparing another video. And then my husband and I decided that we would go do brunch. And so that's what we did. And we got to the restaurant, and there were just a ton of our friends there, and we got to visit with a bunch of them. So it was a nice little visit, and then came back, and he said that he was going to be off to mowing, and I said, well, I have got some material to work with here, and so I decided I was going to work with this Bibi's Little Blessings, and it's such a sweet set. So I'm attaching the hands. I've got the sleeves that are part of the shirt, and I'm tucking the hands underneath those sleeves, and then there are cuffs that I'm going to tuck underneath the hands to finish off the sleeves. First, I'm going to add these legs, I think. And then we'll come back and add those cuffs onto the backs, kind of underneath the little hands. Just checking out for scale to make sure if I needed to push her legs up a little bit higher or whatever. But their legs are kind of positioned like they are, flying with their wings or floating, like angels do. So I'll position her wings behind her and get them how I want them and give them a little press, and then we'll bring those little cuffs to her sleeves in, I think, is what we'll do next. Trying to get that glue off of my tweezers and my fingers. They're teeny tiny pieces. And so, I did her headband first. And so you've got lots of glue, and I'll be, trying to keep everything clean with all these little bits and pieces and cleaning up glue along the way with my glue eraser. So I put a little floral headband on her. Now I'm tucking the sleeves in. The headband is in that brushed gold, and the backs of the sleeves are as well. And so I'm going to just tuck these in and position them under her hands and behind the shirt so that we've got a nice little cuff there. And I'm kind of fussing with it because I'm getting a little gluey and they're wanting to stick to my fingers. And so we'll get it positioned down there, give it a little press, and get it lined up, and then we'll add our next one to our other hand. So a little bit of glue. So he's off mowing. We have finally gotten a break in the rain and able to do some mowing, and he's trying to get caught up on everything. So thankfully, the rain is giving us a little break, and hopefully some of those cities that are south of us that are just devastated, hopefully they're getting some break too, because we do have some more rain coming in, so we just need that break for that to help the situation. But I've seen terrible pictures and videos of the flooding, and lots of people are in pretty poor shape. So here is our little blessing, and I added some of that navy to that headband so that we'd have a gold blue gold floral, and I'm going to bring one of those gold florals and just add it on her little dress here, and I think it's a cute little addition, just add some detail. Now I went and grabbed there's socks and shoes for these little angels, and I've got my socks in the alabaster, and for her, she's got matching navy blue shoes to go with her dress, and so I'm just bringing those pieces in, and we'll get the shoes layered up on our socks, and then we'll get them added to our feet. Cute. I think it's cute that with the detail of both the socks and the shoes, I think that makes it fun. You could have easily just added some shoes to the set, but they did add the socks and the shoes. And the socks have got like a little ruffled edge on it. Super cute. So we'll get her shoes on her, and then we'll get to assembling her sister. I'm going to call it her little sister. And so cleaning up some glue off the desk, and there we go. Isn't she cute? I think she's adorable. And the little blush on the cheeks is super fun. So I'll just position her. I'm going to get it out of the way. Then we're going to bring in all of the pieces for the little sister. And she's going to have on an alabaster dress with just a little touch of blue and gold. And so we'll get all the pieces. You can see I've got lots of extra pieces die cut out, because I wasn't sure, what hair I wanted to use, and did I want to use the flowers, did I want to use the doves, what things did I want to use, what did I not want to use, and so there are lots of bits and pieces in there. So I'm going to keep this dress all in the alabaster color, but we're going to add a bit of gold trim to it, and then we'll bring in a decorative floral belt for her. And here's the brushed gold. We're just going to put this layer on there. Her dress is not going to be as long because she's a little bit shorter. And we'll layer it up and just make it pretty. And then we've got her little legs, and we'll get them added and just trying to position them to the appropriate height for her. And then this is her little neck piece. All of these little dies have a similar neck piece, including the Nativity blessings that I'm going to bring in as well. We're going to use both. Actually, we're using all of the die sets and the stamp and dies for this, trying to make use of everything. Now, I didn't bring in the doves and some of the flowers, but we're going to cover a lot of it. Just a fantastic set. So next, I'm going to position her little hands underneath her sleeves as well, and then get her little cuffs on there added to it as well. And you'll see I'm doing a lot of dabbing of glue because I'm just trying to, if it comes out in a little blob, I'm patting it and smoothing it out, just trying to keep the glue mess to a minimum. And I was trying to check the cuffs to make sure they weren't different, and they appear to be very similar, so I'm just going to stick one on each side and try to get it lined up nice and neat. And if any glue seeps out, I'm using those tweezers to kind of clean it up. So we'll just get that tucked in there, give it a little press. And I like the dress. I love that little etched detail that is on the dress as well. It looks like a cute little pattern on there, and it's really nice. So here I'm going to use the little hair that's got bangs, and then there's the cutest little buns that you can add to either side of her head. Like she's got these little buns, two little buns, and I'm just going to add those to the back of her head. So we'll put a little dot of glue on there, and then we'll add these little buns, and she's going to have the sweetest little hairdo. It's going to be super cute. Now, I can't decide who I'm going to give these cards to. They're so fantastic. And I hope maybe I'll get a chance to work with them a little more before Christmas and create some more cards, because I think these are really pretty. And to have a 5x7 card. So look at her. Isn't she cute? She's just so sweet. Now we're going to kind of jazz her up a little bit. And I'm going to bring in a navy blue floral embellishment. This was like the headband we used on the other gal, but I'm going to use it as a waistband for this little gal and just add a little decorative element to her. And since this is like a fabric material, I just blotted off that glue so it wouldn't seep through the little flower holes, and I just touched it to I've got a paper towel off to the side. And there we go. We've got her little belt on there. Now, there are some other elements. There is a halo that you can add. I'm going to get her shoes on here. And then there is a cross and some candles. And I'm going to have one of the little ones hold a candle and then one of them hold a cross. So we'll get those added. Now, I've just laid her little gold shoes down on her little alabaster socks, and we're going to lay them right down on her feet. I went ahead and assembled them, and then we'll just get them laid right down on there. And there she is. I think she's super cute. So here's where I'm grabbing one of the floral elements. I thought, would it be cute to put a little bow on her shoe? And I decided against it, and so I was just trying that out. And now I'm just looking at the halo, and I'm like, we're going to put the halo on her head. And I think she's going to look cute with that little halo on her little hairdo, kind of in between her little buns there. We'll just give that a press and get it laid down. I'm going to get that flower out of the way. We're not going to use it. And then here is the candle, and I've just done my candle all in gold. There is a tip if you would like to make it a different color, but I'm keeping my color scheme very, I guess, neutral, and just going with, these three colors that I've chose to bring in apart from the hair. And so we'll just lay that candle down on there as is. And then I'm going to clean up some glue. There's a little bit of glue on her dress there, or her hand, and I'm getting that off of there. And then I'm going to bring the cross in and put it in her hand. So I just tucked that cross in there, and I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So I'm going to add some glue and lay it down. I've decided to do that. Just go with the cross in her hand, and then the candle in the other gal's hand. So I'm just going to get that in there, and then figure out how I want to put them. I first laid her down. I positioned their feet to go in the other direction. So I intentionally did that, and then I don't know why I thought I was going to lay them in the opposite direction. But anyway, so it kind of looks like they're, kind of flying towards each other, or flying there together. And so I hadn't put the wings on this little gal yet. So I'm going to get the wings put on her. And then I think we've got most all of our elements. There is a floral that I'm going to put in the center of that, like, starburst area, or whatever you call that, sunburst. And it's a two-piece floral, and you just kind of rotate it to where it overlaps. It looks like a poinsettia, and I've chosen gold for it, and I'm going to layer it up. And then I'm going to bring in a navy blue center and just repeat our colors and get it laid down in the center of that. And then we'll add it to our little, it looks like almost like a decorative church window. Now, I got a phone call from my mom, and I lost the footage where I laid that floral down, and I glued the girls down, but they are down. And then I'm showing you that I've taken the remnants of the other pieces, the negative piece that I used from the other pieces, and I'm going to use them on this card. So I am making the most of this. So this is the frame that came from around the alabaster panel that I laid the gold beams on. And so I'm just going to get it lined up here in the center, just like we did the other one. I was going to completely assemble this card, since you've already seen me assemble it, but I did want to talk about that I'm using the opposite pieces of it. So this was the remaining piece of the sunbeams that are on the other card, and I'm just going to glue it up and lay it down. And so do not throw it away. Use both elements. In fact, this might be the element that you're supposed to use. I don't know. The other one has the embossed detail on it. So I think this is definitely the negative piece, but you can see that we can use this very well. And then in the Nativity set, there is a star that you can lay right down in the center of this and kind of cover up that area. And so it's going to work out perfectly. And so here's the star, and I've die cut it out, and I'm going to cover up that center there. I'm just going to bring in a foam square and pop it up so that it'll lay nicely on that. And so we'll get a foam piece and just lay it down on there, and then we'll get it positioned. And now we basically have our card base ready, and I can go ahead and assemble the other elements, the die cut pieces for this. I did stamp and heat emboss both of the sentiments with some gold foil. I put joy to the world, love to your home on the angel card. And on this card, I'm putting a child is born, a light has come. And this has a banner die that you can die cut it out with. And then there are some additional banners, just edges of banners that you can add to it. It actually goes with one of the other dies, but I chose to use it for this one just to add layers. So I've got the base of my card ready. Now we're going to start assembling Mary, Joseph and baby Jesus in the manger. So I've got all those pieces laying there, and I'm just going to blend, just use that ink and put a little cheekiness on there, just a little shadow, and adding that to both Mary and Joseph, and I'm going to do baby Jesus as well, and just adding a little shadow, a little blush to all of those, and then we'll get to assembling these as well. So I think we're going to start with Mary, and I've got all of her, I'm choosing gold for her dress and the alabaster for her hat. I don't think you call it a hat, her scarf. I don't know what the headdress is, the proper name for that is. Somebody probably will tell me, but she has like a robe that kind of goes over her dress, and then she's got her headdress that she's going to have on. So I'm going to get the neck laid down on there, and then she has got her sleeves, 2 sleeves. One goes on top, and then one goes behind. The forefront, this one goes on top, and it has debossed detail where that robe goes right over it. So I've die cut the robe out in the alabaster. Now here's the other arm, and it does go behind the body, and you just line it up along the side of that. And then we'll put her little head goes on the neck. I didn't allow enough time for my glue to adhere, so I have to get that pressed and pinch it together and line it back up again. And then we'll add her hands and her cuffs. So I'm just going to lift that up and just tuck that in, and we'll put the cuff underneath it. So we'll get some glue on there and just tuck it in. And then we'll get our other one. This time I decided lay the hand on the cuff and then glue it to the arm all at once, and just save yourself a step there. So that's what I'm doing. Cleaning up. I got a good drop of glue on there, so I was just cleaning it up, and there we go. We've got that assembled. And now this is her robe, and it lines right up on that arm. You've got the detail it shows you, and it on the bottom of the dress shows you how to line it up perfectly. So I'm going to push it over to line up with that crease on the bottom of the dress. And then we have got her. She comes together very quickly. Now, we've got the hair. She's got long hair, and then she has the back to her hair. So I'm going to get the front of her hair laid down on here, and then I think I wind up gluing the back of, going ahead and gluing her head on, and then we'll add the back of the hair, and then the headdress actually has a slit in it. And at first I thought I was going to lay it down in there, and then I thought, no, you got to shove it in there. And I thought I want to have her face position. So I do have glue on the back of that, but I'm going to go ahead and add her to it, and then we'll slide it in because there is a slit in there, and I wanted to make sure I got it positioned just exactly right. So I went ahead and added the back of the hair how I wanted it, and then we're going to tuck this in up here. And so that's pretty much her. She's come together. I think she looks really cute. And just getting that head positioned exactly like I want it. I'm going to put a little bit more glue in there just to hold her in place. And then give it a pinch. And there we go. Isn't she cute? Sweet. I think the little bit of inking on the cheeks really kind of helps. Now we're going to get Joseph assembled and get all his bits and pieces in here and get him all of his garb together. And so here I'm thinking glue the hands on the cuffs and then add them to the arms. At this point, I have figured out this is the better way to do it and save yourself a step. So I'm going to put some glue on there. We'll add the hand, and then we'll add it to the sleeve. And so we'll get the sleeve laid down on there. And then we can add that to his robe. Or this, I guess, to his dress. This would be the robe. Trying to get it lined up just right. There we go. And I've got fumble fingers. I can't hold on to it. So I'll put some glue behind there, and then we'll get it lined up. It is just amazing how they make these dies. I mean, you'd look at this piece and think, what is that for if you didn't have the other pieces? So just cleaning up my glue, and we're going to assemble the other one. Bringing in that glue eraser and try to keep everything nice and neat. And then here we're going to lay the hand on the cuff and then add it to the sleeve. So there we go. And then we'll get this laid down on our base. Still cleaning up glue. Still wasn't happy with it. So I'm going to get some glue on there and get this attached. Right now my fingers are getting all glued up. I'm rubbing them together thinking, I think I even pause, go off camera, spray the glass mat, spray my hands with some alcohol, get it all cleaned off, and come back in. At some point I do that. Usually I'll cut some of that out so you can't tell. So he's got a beard, and I've die cut the beard out. I think I used, what did I use for the colors of the hair? I think I used truffle for all of it. I just tried to, yeah, I used truffle for the beard, the hair of everyone, and just kept the colors all the same. You could do blondes, you could do black, you could do whatever you want. You could do gray or whatever, you know, you could do red. So I didn't have, this piece I think has, let me look and see. It has 25 cutting dies, and I only got 24. I did not get the back of his headdress. And so my dies come in differently than yours do. Mine come in a little baggie, the dies, and I get the samples, I think, is what I get. And so I didn't get one of the dies. I feel confident that you'll get all of them, but occasionally, just because of how, you know, I get my shipments, I didn't get the back of his headpiece. So I thought, you know what? I don't need it. I can use hers and just trim around there because it will work. And his headdress is more narrow than what hers is. Hers kind of flares out. And so I'm just going to lay the part that luckily I got the front of his headdress and the band. So that's the main part you needed. I just needed a backer piece. So I was able to take hers, die cut it out, and then that's what I'm doing is trimming on there. So you should not have to do this, but I wanted to explain what I'm doing because I didn't get that die. And when I got them in, when I package mine and get them all ready, I count them as I lay them down. I print the cover sheet. I go onto Spellbinders and get the cover sheet and print it so that I know how many dies are supposed to be there. And then I count them as I lay them down. And I had counted this one and knew that I was one short. I actually printed off the piece that showed how the dies are laid on the packaging, and I looked at each one and marked them off, and I knew that it was his back of his headdress that was missing. And I had forgotten about it, and when I got it out, I was like, I'm missing a die. And then I realized that sheet was there, and I took a look at it, and I'd put a check mark on every little die that I received, and the one that I didn't receive was the back of his headdress. So this is the manger, and I just used some craft cardstock for it, and I used the brush gold for the little straw or hay or whatever this is hanging outside the basket. It might even be like a little blanket or whatever. But we've got the navy blue blanket, the swaddling that we're going to lay the baby in. And this little dot here is his little bitty dab of hair that he has on his head. It's just a tiny little amount. And we're going to lay, he's got like a glow around his head because it's baby Jesus. And so I'm laying his head down on that. And then we'll position him in the swaddling clothes. And it's a 2-layer piece. I'm going to put the head down, and then I'll add the layer. Now, the image on the packaging shows, you know, like a couple different colors for the layers, but I wanted to keep it the same. So I'm just swaddling him up in a navy blue blanket. And then we're going to lay him in the manger. And we have got all of our elements for this card, and we're going to finish it up. So just get him positioned. I love the color scheme. I think it's really rich and very elegant, and I think it's just proper. So I'm going to lay the manger down here on the bottom, and we're going to be going over layers. So I'm going to bring in just a foam square and put on there, and then I'll put some glue on the top, and then that will help level it off, and we'll get the baby laid down on there. And with that foam square there, I'll be able to tuck Mary and Joseph in around the baby. and it'll fit nicely in there, and that's what I'm going to do. So just kind of dry fitting everything and seeing how I like it. And then I'm going to add a foam square to her and a foam square to him, and then we'll just get them tucked in there and positioned how we want. Going to add some glue. I want to keep this card together. And I don't have to worry about dimension because a lot of my Christmas cards go to church. And so I don't have to mail a lot of my cards. I can put them in our little postage system we got going on at the church. So I'm going to add this glue, and we're going to get Joseph positioned. And there we go. Now for the sentiment, this says a child is born, a light has come. And I've got a foam piece on it, and I'm going to put some glue on either side. And then we will line this up on there. And we've got two gorgeous cards. I love them. I had a blast making this. You know, some things are more fun than others. This one was super fun just with the materials that I used. So I've taken some pictures so that you can see them close up. If you like this content, I've got a playlist with some more content that you can check out. Thanks for watching.